Yeah, there's two mentalities in the tech space. They want their device, they want to be able to modify it and edit it however they want. And then there's other folks. I'm sort of, when it comes to my phone, I'm in the camp where my phone is a tool and I just want my tool to do its stuff and I don't want to spend a lot of time customizing it. All right, welcome to episode 74 of the Sandbox.Space weekly podcast. I'm host Chris, joined as always by Baby. I've got Pumpkin here. Pumpkin's losing her mind here. But I am your host, Chris. Today, it's just little old me. No special guest today. We're going to talk about a variety of fun stuff. But of note, as popped into the chat here. Actually, let me take that, throw it over there. And then we're going to get rid of you. And then we are going to bring up this. If I can select the right button. There we go. There we go. And the chat's on top of that. So let's move that down. All right. We have got GDEX coming up in 4 weeks, if you can believe it. We have posted a whole bunch of information, obviously, but we posted the schedule. We're still adding stuff to the schedule. So the next couple of weeks, we'll be adding more. That's exciting. And then we are going to be adding in information about the tournaments probably today. I should get to that today. So we'll have a whole bunch of information about the game tournaments we're going to be doing, which is really cool. And then, of course, we'll get more of the speakers and everything. You can go to the experiences. And you can see our speakers. You can click on that. We're adding more of those up all the time. So we've got a lot more. It looks like Tom Caprell's missing an image there. Tom, if you want to make a note. But yeah, GDEX is coming up. We are also in the middle of the GDEX Game Jam, which is super exciting. So next week we'll have the, what do you call it? The results from that. So that'll be really, really exciting. And so I think that there is just, it's going to be a good year. Our tickets are selling pretty good. I know a lot of folks are kind of worried about the economy and everything, and they're not quite sure. So we try to keep our prices as affordable as we could. But I think it's going to be a good time. So I hope that you come, visit, enjoy it. If you got any questions, feel free to chat. But yeah, I think it's going to be a really, really fun event. So also, just for fun, if I can find it here. Oops. Oh my gosh, so many tabs. We are doing a after party at GDEX. So that's going to be Saturday. We're going to have some music and tournaments and free play and all sorts of stuff like that. So that should be pretty fun. Yeah. GDEX, it's a thing, and it's coming up real quick. We're going to get there, but we're not quite ready yet. But that's how it is every year, is we're always trying to just make it work, and it is what it is. So that's fun. Let me move this over here. Okay, yeah, Tom, Saturday the Underworld might not even close. I don't know about that. That's up to you guys. If you guys want to hang around and do stuff, that's fine. But I am old, and I'm not going to be up till 4 in the morning at the GDEX party. So, okay. So a couple things I just want to talk about. We don't have a ton. This article I thought was kind of fun. It's stupid, but I just kind of curious about people's thoughts. Please stop making me fish in video games. This is a GameSpot article by Cherry Faulkner. It's time we all admitted that fishing in video games sucks. It's not relaxing. It's not rewarding. It's not even remotely fun yet. For some reason, developers keep shoving it into otherwise fantastic games as though it's a must-have feature right alongside combat, crafting, menu screens so convoluted you'll need a PhD to understand them. But that's a topic for another time. I don't know what you all think. I've always been sort of back and forth on fishing. I'm not sort of as anti-fishing as this person is, but I know I think they just added fishing to Fortnite like relatively recently, and one of my friends was talking about how much fun he was having doing that. So I don't know. What are our anglers at? Do we have people that enjoy fishing? I'm trying to think the last game that I did that had fishing in it. It's been a long Red Dead 2, maybe? Yeah, I'm trying to. It's been a while since I've done any kind of game that has fishing in it. And I agree, a lot of the fishing games can be pretty annoying, but some of them are pretty fun. I enjoyed, was it Final Fantasy 15? I enjoyed the fishing in that. It was fun, I guess. Um, I mean, generally, it's definitely not the highlight of any game, I think. Long message broke out of chatbot. Well, Tom, I can only do so much here, man. What do you want from me? I can do that, but then I have to do that. It's going to make everything smaller. There, now it should cover it, but it just makes the text a little bit smaller. So I don't know if you can still read it on the screen, but yeah, I don't know. Fishing's fine. I don't know what game had the best fishing game ever. There's a game by Viva La Dirt League. It's called Nice Day for Fishing. Nice. Does I don't remember. Does Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom have fishing in it? I'm trying to remember. Hey, Holy Ninja, first time chatter. Welcome. But I just thought this was kind of an interesting article. Yeah, there's an image on this article of Final Fantasy 15. Red Dead Redemption 2, Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing. I remember the Animal Crossing, was it New Horizons? I remember fishing in that was kind of annoying. But I don't know. For all you fishers out there, all you anglers, I guess maybe that's a fight you can have. All right, next little article here just for fun. This is off of IGN, Rebecca Valentine. Xbox U-turns on Outer Worlds 2 price, $80 price point reverting to $70 and reimbursing for pre-orders. So there was a lot of stink about Outer Worlds 2 being $80. I guess Microsoft decided to change course. Their spokesman said, "We're focused on bringing players incredible worlds to explore." Wow, that caught me off. "And we'll keep our full-priced holiday releases, including the Outer Worlds 2, at $69.99 in line with current market conditions." It's a very Microsoft response. I think it's good. I think that's fine. I mean, I plan on buying Outer Worlds 2. I liked Outer Worlds 1. I thought it was a good foundation for what could be an awesome game. So I'm hoping that it will be the second one will have built on that. What's the release date for this? October 29th. Okay, so that'll be a fun Halloween game to play. I am not one of those people that feels that the $80 price point is outrageous. I think that Holy Ninja, we're never getting $60 games back. And I think that that's something. Game pricing, I've got two sort of pet peeves. One is games pricing, and the other is people complain about there's nothing to play. And I think that is just ridiculous right now. Generally, I'm going to paint with a broad brush. These tend to be younger people. They've never really gone through the desert of actually having nothing to play. But we can talk about that later. But we're never getting $60 games back. Games were $60 for a long time, when others were... when other industries were increasing prices or having to deal with inflation and stuff, we kept games at $60, even though the cost to make games increased dramatically. You're talking about games that used to cost, in the mid 2000s, they might have cost, say, 20 to $50 million at the high end. Games nowadays are costing minimum of 100 million. These are AAA games, obviously, but minimum of 100 million, sometimes up to 500 million if you count in marketing budget. GTA 6 is estimated to be $2 billion. And so I think if we're setting our expectations for what we want games to be, these high end, really, good looking, blah blah blah, we're just gonna have to get used to paying more money. Now, of course, I will definitely stand on the side of, if we're paying 80, 90, $100 for games and then they're still charging us for, uh, like these $10 microtransactions, or these seasons that we have to pay for, if those are done in like really greedy ways, then yeah, totally. If we're spending the 60, I'm sorry, the 70 or $80 for a game, then I don't want to be charged on the back end with a whole bunch of microtransactions. Yeah, you can always wait for summer sales as well. But that's just kind of how it is. Like, you look at like the mid 2000s into like pretty much COVID, and we didn't really see games prices changing at all. That was a long time for a product to not be increasing its price. Oh, almost 15 years. That's a long time. So, games should simply charge $1 per hour of gameplay they offer. Yeah. Uh, I don't know about that. That means some of these games would be costing $1 bazillion. But just budget out what you want and what you find valuable in games, and then also don't forget about the indie space. I think a lot of this conversation comes around the AAA space, but the indie games are doing a lot of cool stuff, and they're a lot cheaper generally. Even a top end indie game would be, usually like $30. I mean, some of the top indie slash mediums are like $40, but even those are pretty rare. You can get most indie games $10 to $20 range. Yeah, MMOs. I still think, so it's I played World of Warcraft, the new season, like February or January. I kind of stepped away from it because it just eats a lot of time. But if you're looking for just like dollar for hour value, yeah, you spend, I think it's like $60 for an expansion. Most of those expansions last a year and a half to 2 years, and then you're paying, what is it, $12 or $15 a month. I mean, you can play those games forever, right? You could be playing those games like a full-time job. So you're spending, let's average that out. Let's say $60 for, we'll say for 1 year for an expansion, just to err on the side. So you're spending $60. So, we'll say $6 a month. I don't remember what it is, because it's like 60 or $70 for an expansion, right? So let's just say $6 a month is what you're paying amortized. And then you're paying the $12 a month. So you're at $18 plus tax. We'll round it up to $20 a month. $20 a month for a game that you can spend a bazillion hours in is pretty good. And yeah, like Caleb mentioned, if you're paying $10 to $15 for a movie ticket for a 2 or 3 hour movie, there you go. I've got the AMC pass, which I really like, which gives you, I think it's 4 free movies a week now. I never see 4 movies a week. I barely see one, but if I can see 2 movies a month, I've more than paid up for my AMC pass, which I think is like $20 or $22 a month. So yeah. And then you've got games like Path of Exile, which is totally free. You can play that game totally free, and that game is awesome. Path of Exile 2 is currently in beta, and you can buy the season packs and all that crap, all the cosmetic stuff if you want, but there's plenty of amazing games that don't cost a lot of money. So that's just something that bothers me. I think this is This is literally the best time to ever be a gamer in gaming history, and you can find more stuff for cheaper than ever before. People forget, like, sometimes in the 90s, we were buying Super Nintendo games for 50, 60, $70 in 1990s dollars. So you're looking at over $100 per game a lot of times. Now, granted, you would play the hell out of that game because that's maybe all there was, but this is the best time to. There's more games coming out now than ever before. It's pretty amazing. I gotta set something. I'm getting a warning here. Yeah, whatever. OBS can deal with it. It's the tier native choice. Yeah, I mean that's the issue, is that there is too much going on, and their curation and discoverability are a huge issue in all the entertainment spheres right now. And so it's hard to find even which games that you want to play, which is why I was doing Game Club for a little bit, where I was kind of picking out a game a month to play, but I just got too busy to consistently do it. Maybe, Caleb, when you become rich and you treat me to the life I'm accustomed to, I can bring Game Club back. All right. Let's grab this. This is the big one for the day. I'm very curious about folks' thoughts. This is on GameSpot, Moises Tavares. Xbox is increasingly unstable platform for anyone to invest in. Quote, Xbox is going through an identity crisis. The most recent wave of layoffs at Microsoft, which cut about 9,000 jobs, including numerous positions at studios under the Xbox banner, suggests as much. These cost-cutting measures are said to be in the service of some realignment or reorganization that's always purported to set those companies up for greater success. And yet, they keep happening, further eroding any trust and goodwill the brand may have from previous successes. After several waves of job cuts, restructurings, pivots in strategy, and any other corporate jargon I've neglected to mention, I'm beginning to suspect that Xbox's growing instability deserves more scrutiny and concern from its developers and consumers alike. Let's be direct. The journey that Xbox has been in for over the last decade appears to be a failure. Its famous spree of purchases and subsequent management of those studios has turned out about as many blemished games as it has delays, cancellations, and studio closures. This isn't to say Xbox hasn't produced hits and gems, but along the way there, Xbox has also built up quite a track record of critically panned games, canceled projects, and defunct teams. So this has been a point of conversation by a lot of folks where we're not sure what Xbox is looking at. And yeah, Holy Ninja, you mentioned they have been talking about how, I mean, they've pretty much been saying how they're using AI to reduce their staffing to lead to better profits, but it is not leading to better quality games. And it's creating a lot of uncertainty around what Xbox is going to look like in the future. And now personally, I don't have any like I don't want to say it's not that I don't have any love for Xbox. That's not what I mean. It's like I don't have any skin in the game, you know. I don't I'm not a fanboy or whatever, but I do think that the industry is better when it has three major players in it, and history has shown us that. And so I think having PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo in the field as all roughly equal competitors has led to a lot of benefit for customers and gamers. And if Xbox was to bow out there, we had a episode, I don't know, earlier this year, 6 months ago, maybe, about how Xbox may not make another console at all, or they may do what they're doing like in the PC space where they just give you the Xbox specs and then other players come in, you know, like your Asus's or whatever, will come in and make an Xbox device. And then that device is what, you know, people will buy. So in essence, you're buying a PC that runs the Xbox platform, right? Regardless of however any of this shakes out, it's better for consumers if we have at least three. I think three seems to be the magic number, players in it. And that's not even counting, like, we're getting rid of, like, exclusivity is becoming less of a thing now, which I think is good in many ways. However, it's important to remember that, like, Nintendo kind of operates in its own sphere. And so if Xbox drops out, then it's PlayStation and Nintendo, but PlayStation and Nintendo don't really compete against each other in the same way that Xbox and PlayStation compete against each other. So there is an argument to be said that, like, well, without Xbox, let's just say there's a world where Xbox doesn't exist at all. I don't think that's going to be the case, but let's just hypothetically talk about it. Then there also is possibly a world where PlayStation and Nintendo are competitors, but still in separate kind of lanes for each other. So maybe if it's a Venn diagram, they overlap 20% and the other 80% is each their own lane, something like that. That could be a world that functions, but remember, without competition, these companies are going to trend towards making worse projects, worse features, and moving towards profit revenue generating directions instead of offering the features. And we can clearly see that with Games Pass. Like, you had Microsoft, like Xbox Live and stuff. You had PlayStation Network. And then the PlayStation Plus, on the PlayStation Network was okay. And then Xbox felt that it was really losing the console war, particularly last generation into this generation. And so Xbox is like, all right, we're going to create Games Pass. And Games Pass was from the consumer perspective, we can talk about the developer perspective because there's a lot of concerns there. But from the consumer perspective, Xbox Games Pass was like one of the best deals in gaming history. Like, you just got great games for a great price, consistently every month. It was sort of better than PlayStation Plus in many ways. And it forced PlayStation to adapt. PlayStation had to really up its game for its PlayStation Plus services to be competitive with Games Pass. So that was a really good, Xbox felt they were losing. They needed to come up with some sort of offering, some sort of that would give them a competitive advantage in some way. They came out with Xbox Games Pass, and then PlayStation was forced to respond, which all in all made it a better ecosystem for all gamers involved. Without that, I know PlayStation would not have made PS Plus better. They would have just kept doing what they were doing. And it was fine. Like, you got free games every month and there was some cool stuff, but PlayStation Plus is much better now because of the competition. So I think that they being Nintendo, Sony, and Xbox work well in this environment together. And so I don't know if based on this article, like, it seems like we're in a very, I was gonna say a reshaping, but I think the reality is that the entire industry is trying to figure out what it's doing. And my concern is that things are going to get a lot worse before they get better. And then, of course, you can't ignore the overall market and economic conditions that are going on, the social conditions where it's next to impossible for a business to plan, the next couple of months, let alone the next couple of years out. When you've got tariffs changing all the time, you've got all this, like, manufacturing is happening, is not happening. Obviously in Ohio, our big manufacturing thing was the Intel plant, a little bit away from Columbus. And then that's more or less dead. This multi-billion-dollar manufacturing thing from Intel. And now it's just sitting there. Nobody knows what's going to happen to it. So I know a lot of you are talking about the Steam Deck. Yeah, I mean, the Steam Deck's cool. It doesn't really compete directly, at least right now, with consoles in that space. It's really just an augment to PC gaming, which is not a bad thing. It's just, it's sort of, again, in a different sphere, different vertical, if you want to call it that. But how many of you all have a Steam Deck? I never bought one, but I'm also not a big PC gamer. I mostly just do it on consoles because I'm old and I want to. Um, I don't know. I'm old and I just want to be able to put a disc in my console and play a game. So nobody really has them. We only got everyone's saving and considering. What's the feel like I'm doing a little market research here. What's the hold up? Like is it the price? Is it just you don't know if you're going to have enough time to like really use it and make it worthwhile? Yeah. That's another thing too. Like I just don't I think this is a part of me just being an older gamer. It's like I like sitting on my couch with my big I've got a 77-inch 4K OLED TV that's just gorgeous to look at and I like sitting on my couch playing on my TV. I don't want to sit I mean I already just here I feel like I'm already like hunched over like a goblin as I'm doing this podcast. Um so I unless it's something like World of Warcraft or whatever, I just generally don't play on my computer. I get why people would. I've got, I got a pretty nice, I don't know what size this is. I forget. It's a little like widescreen. It's an LG OLED 4K display. I think it's like maybe 24 or 27 inches. So it's a nice screen. Um, but yeah, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, being away from the family. Yeah, and then you jump into the Switch too, and you're like, well, what are you really getting out of the Steam Deck? I mean, you're getting a big library, but also if you're looking for portability, it seems like the Switch is, kind of the way to go. Even though I think for many people the Switch 2 is disappointing. Um, but well, that reminds me, we should do a GDEX talk on like the Switch 2 and maybe the future of gaming tech. That could be a fun talk. Well, what about this Xbox thing? Do we think Xbox is going to go away? I mean, they just spent so much money on all of these properties. Um, Got to do something with them, I guess, even if it's going to be releasing on Windows. Interesting. Holy Ninja, can I ask you? I'm just kind of curious question. Do you have an Android phone or an iPhone? Yep, I could have guessed that. Yeah, there's two mentalities in the tech space. Obviously, I'm painting very generically here, but there's two mentalities where people want like they want their device, they want to be able to modify it and edit it however they want. And then there's other folks. I'm sort of when it comes to my phone, I'm in the camp where my phone is a tool and I just want my tool to do its stuff and I don't want to spend a lot of time customizing it and doing things to it. I want it to be able to send text messages easily and clearly. I want to be able to get all my email on there, use the apps that I need, and then I walk away and I don't care about it. Where there are others who want to, um, there are others who just want to be able to tweak every aspect of it, and it's sort of two different worlds. Yeah, I have a what do I have? An Xbox. Or sorry, an Xbox. I have an iPhone 15 Pro that I got mostly for some of the advanced camera features because I do my photography, but. Yeah, this really intriguing. This Xbox. Hey, sweetie. This Xbox changing that's going on, or potential change. I mean, there's nothing specifically, right? It does just seem like Xbox is floundering. I mean, it's making money. That was one of the arguments about the 9,000 layoffs from Microsoft, was that Microsoft's making a lot of money. Like, they made a really good amount of profit. So people are like, why are you laying all these people off? And if it's because of AI, then that's just going to lead to a much larger issue, which is, we're going to start laying a lot of people off for AI, and there's not going to be anywhere for them to go. Right now, there are a lot of people in the games industry that do not have a they just don't have any job opportunities, and that's not even counting the tens of thousands of kids we're pumping out through our educational system, of which I am a professor, and so it sucks because I try to let my students know, that this is a challenging time for the industry, and so hopefully I try to prepare them as best I can, to be adaptable and flexible, and realizing, like, not that in any industry this happens, but there is no chance in the game space that you are going to be at the same company for all of your working world. Most most people you're going to be lucky to be at the same company for 3, 4, maybe 5 years, and then you're going to go somewhere else. Um, so you want to make games for PlayStation? Cool. Yeah, PlayStation normally comes to GDEX. They're not able to make it this year. PlayStation's not doing a lot of events, but we normally have some PlayStation people at GDEX. Um, and I think right now, if I had to think about the properties that I want to work on, like if I, instead of making a game from scratch, I was like, hey, I want to go work on this property. They're almost all in the PlayStation ecosystem. Like God of War would be cool. Last of Us would be cool. From Software might be like, if I could work on, oh man, another Bloodborne game would be cool. I really like Bloodborne. I'd work on that property. Um, Fallout, if a Fallout 5, I'd really like to work on Fallout. That's in obviously the Xbox, Bethesda world. But there's plenty of really cool PlayStation properties that would be fun to work on. And I hear they're a pretty good company to work for. A lot of the folks that I know have been working there, um, for a while, and so that's cool. But it's rough goings out here. We're starting our actually, this is our final week of summer semester. Going to be doing grading here soon, and then starting fall semester. Uh, and fall semester is always interesting because it goes into the holiday season, and so we start to see a lot of shucking and jiving from some of these companies, about what decisions these large companies are making. So it will be interesting what what the future holds. It's just, it is what it is, I guess. We are where we are. Toad Howard. Yeah, I think the Bethesda environment's kind of interesting. I can't speak to the internal machinations, because I've never worked at Bethesda or for Bethesda, but we do have people that are working with like Obsidian, on some stuff, and others, and it's hard when the expectation, like Fallout. So I grew up with Fallout 1 and 2, and like at the beginning, right? And that was back when there was no expectation that these games had to sell a bazillion units. They were just weird, funky games with like this cool Mad Max style, and over time they get bought out, and now it's like, if Fallout 5 comes out and it doesn't sell, like 10, 15 million units, it's probably going to be considered a failure. And that just changes your design philosophy. And so I don't, I would love to see Fallout 5 be Fallout 4 with a much better story, less Bethesda jank, and more RPG elements, and I would be totally into it. We just got to hit 20 years of GDEX. I mean, this is year 13. Like, I think we've shown we can at least survive, even if we lose money. Last year we lost money. We don't make any money on GDEX, so that sucks. But I keep hoping that if we keep surviving, we'll be able to eventually get some bigger, medium to bigger size names in there, and that will help get people excited, because ultimately we keep doing GDEX because it helps people be successful at their career and growing their network. And we have, just look at the schedule here. We'll toot our own horn for a second. Let's pull out the schedule. Oh, come here, sweets. Come here. Come here. Baby wants to say hi. Hi, sweetie. Okay. Let's look at our schedule here. I see you. I see you. Let's grab. But I mean, so this is Dev Day, for example. I mean, just look at something like we've got Navigating a Journey of a Video Game Developer. This is from a oh my god, this is like the smallest window in history. We've got animating rigging in Unreal. Like, we've got an Xbox guy coming to do some talking. We have this really cool story session that's going on. We've got 2 talks on voice acting, developing voices, community management. I mean, that's a big one. A lot of people don't think about it as developers until it's too late. And then, of course, business and legal strategy. Like, these sessions alone can set you apart as an indie developer in such a huge way. And of course, I'm not going to go through all these, but we got a whole bunch of ones here, Saturday and Sunday. Of course, we have our tournaments and things like that. We got a buttons and menus, a UI talk, which is pretty cool. So there's just tons of stuff at the show to help you be successful. And it would be a shame if GDEX couldn't make it, but man, the environment right now for shows and the games industry is just really tough. So yeah, Evan Barr's cool. We've got here, let me pull up if I could spell properly. So we got this guy coming. Oh, actually, let me put it back on. Sorry about that. Boop. So this is Colin McComb. He's coming, but he worked at Larian Studios on some stuff. He worked at In Exile for a long time. And so, he's been working on games like, Tides of Numera, Planscape, a bunch of generally kind of C RPG stuff. We've got George Zeitz, who worked on a bunch of stuff, including like Fallout New Vegas. And so we got a lot of really cool. Marcus Cincy is going to be there. He's doing the portfolio review, and he'll be around. I think he's got almost 40 AAA games under his belt. So we're gonna have some really, really cool stuff this year. I didn't mean to turn this into the GDEX Power Hour, but mostly just illustrating that this opportunity exists for folks that are in the region, if they can make it to Columbus. And the nice thing about Columbus, Ohio, is it's driving distance from 75% of the country's population, so that's awesome. But just a lot of really great opportunities for folks. And not that you asked, but since we were talking about teaching and whatnot, but as a student, and if you're in this industry, you're always a student, even if you're not going to school. Like, as a student, you need to be taking advantage of these opportunities so that you can grow your network and you can learn more and you can be able to have interesting conversations. I cannot tell you how many game devs I meet that have just very little understanding, particularly students, obviously, but they're there to learn. But even professional game devs who just have very little understanding of how the industry actually functions on a business level, why financial decisions are made, why release schedules are made the way they are. And definitely the gaming audience doesn't have any idea. I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday about Path of Exile 2, and they were like, this game sucks. It's the worst game, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, dude, you may not like it, or, maybe they haven't implemented things in the way that you want to, but they released a game in early access beta over a year from when it's scheduled to come out. And that game is amazing. Like, it functions well. There are AAA games that come out at release nowadays that don't play as well as that game and don't have as many bugs. And so just understanding the process of making games is pretty challenging. And I know some of you in chat are doing the game jam right now, so you're all knee deep in making games. But yeah, I like PoE 2. It's different than PoE 1, and I definitely think there's some things they need to change and fix about it. But they're still 6 to 8 months away from release, so they got plenty of time to work on stuff. And again, the demos, like, if you I don't remember what the number is, but if you paid some amount of money in microtransactions for PoE 1, which again is a free game, then you get access to the PoE 2 beta for free. So you don't even really have to pay any money to play these things. Yeah. 6 to 8 months is plenty of time for a game that you've been working on for many, many years. It is not enough time to make a game from scratch. Tom, we don't need any more. We don't need any more pun games. All right. Well, we're kind of getting close to our wrap-up time here. Is there anything else that anybody wants to talk about? I appreciate you all being here. Next week, we should be back to having our special guests again. But reminder, we've got our YouTube channel. We just launched our YouTube channel. I need to get the older videos over from the GDEX channel. But we created a separate YouTube channel specifically for these podcasts. Yeah, I'm super excited to see what you all are coming up with for the jam. And of course, we'll have our GDEX Game Awards, and we always give a winner out to the game jam. So we'll see what that looks like. All right. Well, if there isn't anything else, I think this is a good point. We can end this here. This has been episode 74 of the Sandbox.Space weekly podcast. Of course, we record every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern time from our beautiful studio in my apartment in Columbus, Ohio. I really enjoy you all being here. Like I said, next week we will be back with a special guest once I get that confirmed. But really appreciate you being here. Really appreciate the chat. It was a great conversation. And make sure to keep an eye on GDEX. Remember, www.thegdex.com. All the information on there and everything. So on behalf of Pumpkin, Baby, myself, everybody in the chat, I want to thank you for watching, and I will see you next week.